encouraging, educating, and empowering you into action. This is Warriors Talk with your host, Lady ReShell.
Hello, hello. Welcome to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we move away from awareness towards action. It's Testimonial Monday, and our topic for today is Procrastination is Cancer's Best Friend. We are live on Intellectual Radio. We just heard from the Drive at 5 with Roman. Keep it locked right here on Intellectual Radio and allow us to feed your brain. On the last episode of Warriors Talk, Dr. Michelle and I discussed the intersection of cancer and mental health. You can head over to YouTube and type in Intellectual Radio and stay connected for any episodes you may have missed. The quote of the day is, "Try not to make cancer your focal point of your life. Cancer is a temporary piece. Don't let it define you." Here is your trending topic for today. According to CNN News, the home buying process in the United States has recently slowed to a crawl, but falling mortgage rates could soon jolt back to life. For potential home buyers who may be itching to come off the sidelines, the recent drop in mortgage rates may be a double-edged sword. Low rates could give home buyers more purchasing power. However, they could also lead to more intense competition for the home market, driving record high prices even higher. It's one of those things when people say, "Be careful what you wish for," said Greg McBride, the chief financial analyst for Bankrate. A future drop in mortgage rates could bring a surge of demands that makes it even tougher to actually buy a house. That is your trending topic for today. If you are tuned in on any form of social media, like the show, share the show, invite someone else in on the show that you feel may benefit from this valuable information. My special guest today is born and raised in Newark, New Jersey. He began his journey into music at the age of 12, mastering the turntables early on. He graduated from the Arts High School, made history by being the first in 25 years to earn a dual major in both music theory and art. His passion for the sounds led him to become a certified professional audio engineer in 2006, and he has since accumulated 30 years of experience as a professional DJ. Currently, he serves as a senior tech support engineer at the leading audio-visual company, leveraging his deep expertise to support cutting-edge projects. In addition to his technical career, he proudly holds the title of the official DJ for the Gow Foundation. In May of 2024, he was diagnosed with cancer, marking a new chapter in his journey as he continued to inspire through resilience and creativity. Welcome to Warriors Talk, Stuart Boone. Hey, Stuart.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. I'm going good. I'm all right. Not bad. Yourself?
Welcome, welcome. I'm excited about the show.
Me too.
Yeah.
I am.
I'm hoping that all of the men tune in and take notes. And the women, if you are listening to the show, make sure that your man is listening or you tag him so that he can get this valuable information on the show. Again, our topic today is procrastination is cancer's best friend.
Yes.
Yes. And so I really just want to jump into the conversation because I know we're going to cover a lot. And my first question to you, Stuart, would be, what was your introduction to cancer?
I actually went in for a yearly physical. Every year was like a yearly physical. I started to go maybe about 3-4 years ago. Started getting physical. That was about 4 years ago. Started going into getting physicals done. And then in the beginning, there was no alarm. I wasn't told that I needed to go get checked. It was raised. My PSA levels were raised. So eventually every year it just kept increasing. So it went from a 4 to a 7 to a 9 to an 11. And then once we got to 11, it was, hey, you may want to get checked out process. But of course, me being like most men, we don't feel anything wrong, so we don't think anything's wrong. So when it came down to my last physical and I had a PSA reading of 15, was when the alarms really went up and said, hey, man, you really need to get checked you need to get your prostate checked. But the thing about that was, it's not always a prostate exam that's going to find what the urologist is looking for, whether it be a hard surface on the prostate or not. So then you have to go through what I had to go through, which was get an MRI done. And doing the MRI, they didn't see anything outside of the prostate that would show that, hey, maybe he has cancer. I had to actually have a PMA scan, PET scan done. And that's when they were really able to pinpoint and say, hey, yeah, you do actually have cancer. And that's when I found out. I think that was, I want to say June 11th of this year. So that's when it really hit home and say, hey, man, yeah, you have prostate cancer.
So it may not be something that you can see to the naked eye or feel to the touch, but they had to do a more in-depth diagnosis to see, okay, yeah, this is exactly what this is. And I think some people, we feel like, I look good on the outside. I don't really feel, some people have aches every now and then, but we're not alarmed about it. So we're not really, thinking that this could be that. And so my question would be, um, in your family, was there anybody else diagnosed with that disease or just cancer in general that would alarm you to say, maybe I should be, getting screened for these things?
Right. None of the men in my family had any issues with cancer. The only person that I know that exists in my family that had cancer was my grandma, who had breast cancer. But it's not, I don't believe it's hereditary because none of the other men in my family have cancer or had to do cancer, at least not to my knowledge. But, most of my immediate family, we're pretty close. So we would know about those things. But no, I think I'm probably the first in the generation to be diagnosed with prostate cancer. Yeah, in that regard.
So what was your initial reaction when you got done with the test and it was confirmed? Yes, this is what it is. What was your initial reaction?
Disbelief. Disbelief in a way. You're sitting there and the thing about this is when it depends on the character of the doctor that's telling you, because they'll tell you just nonchalantly and they're giving you all this information and you're still dealing with the process of knowing that you have or possibly have prostate cancer or any cancer for that matter. So you have all this new information coming in, all this new information they're giving you, and you're not grabbing all of it. You hear it, but you're still dealing with the initial reality of that you have cancer, period. You just have cancer, and you're trying to soak that in while they're still giving you all this information. Hey, you need to come in and do this. You have to come and do that. Come do this. And you're like, wait a minute. I have cancer. Let's stop there. I have cancer. What? So, so anything else that came after that was like a blur for me. It was like, just the initial shock of that was it for me. So I had to actually call. So I think, and it depends. It depends on who's telling you, what the doctor is telling you, because to them, this is an everyday thing for them. So I think sometimes they lose the humanity of telling someone who has never experienced having cancer before in their life or know anyone else in their family that has cancer. And you're just telling them as if, oh, you have cancer. Blah, blah, blah. What? Yeah, so you're gonna have to do this. Wait a minute. I have cancer?
So
That
I'm sorry. How did you mentally and emotionally just prepare to face that? Because they really not gonna give you a chance to think about it. They're gonna tell
I
you they're not. Unless you actually take your time to say, wait, I'm going to get a second opinion. I'm gonna, they're going mm, and the topic is procrastination. So you don't want to procrastinate when you get the diagnosis, but you should be able to think mentally, get yourself together mentally. Where were
so
you mentally?
so when I got off the phone that day,
So they called you.
Yeah, it was on the phone. I remember. No, I'm sorry. Was it on the phone? I may have been on the phone. Well, no, I came in. When he
Okay.
told me cancer, and then I found out I had cancer. I was in the office. But when he initially told me that I possibly have it, that was when I had to take in that part of it. But when he told me in person, it was just there was so much weight on me at the time when you think about it, and you're in disbelief. You're in disbelief because I assure you that when I came home the past couple of days after that, I tried to be normal. I try to do all the normal things, and say, okay, I have it. Okay, I know I got to do something, but I got to deal with this in a different way, which was kind of like um, finding out something that you don't want to believe and thinking that if you don't think about it, it'll go away in a sense. So for me, when I found that out, luckily my wife and my daughter wasn't here. They were down south at family reunion, and I was here by myself. So it took me. I had known a week before I told my wife. I didn't want to tell her yet because I needed to find out more information because I know what I'm going to have to go through dealing with her knowing that her husband has cancer. So I had to deal with that. But first, deal with my emotion of hiding that, which was the toughest thing to do in hiding your emotion. It is so tough to do because you have to deal with it. You don't want to, but you have to make yourself believe, hey, this is it. So it took me a week or so on a Sunday before I put my face in a towel and screamed in the towel.
Mm.
I cried at first, and then I screamed in the towel. I had to get it off me because it was on me. I had to get it off me. And when I did that, I said, okay, let's take care of business. Now that I got it off me,
Yeah.
you know.
I always
Uh,
say you have to process the diagnosis yourself before you could tell anybody else. You have to sit in that diagnosis and be like, wow, because you have
yeah,
to figure out how you're going to move forward. So I always say people have to process it, then you have to accept it. Some people say, oh, no, you don't want to accept it. But I always say accepting the diagnosis is not accepting defeat, but it's just letting you know what you have to do. What are you dealing with? What monster you're dealing with and how you're going to deal with that monster. So before you can say anything to anybody else, you have to process that information yourself and then come to the realization that, okay, this is what it is and how am I going to move forward? How am I going to fight?
right,
So
right.
the fact
Because
that you didn't say anything, I'm sorry, the fact that you didn't say anything, um, I could just imagine the weight that was really heavy. And then looking at your family and just it's a lot.
you know, with this, I don't keep secrets from my wife. I'm very open with her. I've been with my wife 25 years. And that's my home girl. That's my wife. That's my homie. So I don't hide anything from her. So to be sitting there eating with them and sitting down and watching and knowing that I had this information, and she kept asking me. I'll be honest. She kept asking me, "What were your results? What did they say? What did they say?" And I said, I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting. Whatever. My wife's no joke. She's like, well, give me the number. I'm going to call. And I tried to put it off as much as I could. So eventually they wound up leaving. Like I said before, they wound up leaving for family reunion. And that's when I had to really get it off of me first. And then, all my research, you start going research crazy. You're going on YouTube, you're going everywhere looking, what can I do? What's this? What's that? No, not now you're into, okay, what's a Gleason score? What's the PSA? Why was it this high? I didn't know it was this one. You're doing all this research and all this information you got to take in because now you're sitting there. You had your chance to make a choice before you found out about this information. And this is where we talk about when you talk about procrastination. When I knew I had an 11, I didn't research it. I didn't know anything about it. My doctor didn't really go into it a whole lot about researching anything about a PSA, whether it be, a 4, a 5, a 6, a 7. Didn't know anything about a PSA. I didn't know anything about a Gleason score until I found out about what my results were. And of course, the doctor's explaining to you what a Gleason score is, but you have to do your own research on Gleason scores as well. But I would tell anybody to this day, any man, that that's over 45, don't wait. It's not just about a prostate exam. This is about getting your PSA scores. Just find out what your PSA is. What are your PSA levels? You need to find it out and find out if it's increasing. I had no one to tell me that because I didn't know I had it. My doctor didn't give me enough information to know that I had it. So you find out on the way. You understand? You find out on the way, and now I'm at that road where it's like, okay, I'm telling my friends now, hey man, listen, I know you may feel like nothing is wrong with you or anything like that, but you're like 50 years old. And I'm telling you, the way someone told me, you need to get your prostate check. Well, they would say prostate check, but they would never say get your PSA reading, PSA score. To me, that should be the very, very first thing you should do when you go get a checkup. Please let me know what my PSA score is, even before a prostate exam.
So
I
they
need
s-
to.
so they say that the normal level for the PSA is a 4.0
Mhm.
and lower.
That's correct.
And then it goes like according to your age as well.
It can, but it's happening more in younger people than it is more than ever now. So it's getting younger. Before it used to be like, oh, you get it when you're like 54, 55. And then before that, it was like 60 something. Now it was 50, 54, 55. Then it became like 50. And now it's like you should get it at 45. So it's getting the time to get checked is getting as far as age space, it's getting lower and lower. It's getting to more younger men than ever before. So now we have that where, if even at 40, 40, 45, you should get checked. And then and when they say when you get checked, people always say get a prostate exam. Get a PSA first. Find out what your score is because that will determine if, let's say, for instance, you have a 2.5. Okay. And let's say the next year you come back and it's a 2.6. You don't have to have a prostate exam at the moment. But the minute you start getting to 4 and it starts going to 5, you may want to start getting checked and get your prostate checked because you want to try to catch it as early as possible. You don't want to do like I did and think everything's okay. Go to next year. Oh, I'll wait. I'll do it next year. Oh yeah, I'll wait. Then do it next year. Oh, I'll wait. Every man does it because my friends do it now to this day. I just had a friend of mine. I just told him. I said, "Listen, you need to get your PSA reading. Something. I'm not getting a prostate." I said, "I never said prostate exam. I said your PSA score. You need to know what that is. What's a PSA score?
What do
I
you
need you
I'm sorry. What do you think the fear is surrounding that? The reason why they don't, knowing what it could lead to.
because they don't want to know. They don't want to find out. They don't want to know. They don't want to deal with the reality of it. I was the same way. It was like, okay, do I really want to know that right now? That's exactly what it was for me. When I had an 11, when I had a 9, I wasn't thinking nothing about a prostate exam at that time. When I got to 11, so I'll get it done. Didn't get it done. Next year, it was 15. It was this year in January. Now you have to get it done. And some men believe, they're like, "Oh, I don't want nobody doing that to, sticking their finger nowhere." Listen, if it's going to save your life, you need to get it done. And whether you like it or not, you're going to get it done. Because if you don't get it done, you will die. And I'm going to just be frank, just like that. You will die. Because if it metastasizes and it gets out of that prostate, it gets to your lymph nodes or your bones or your spine, you can't go backwards. You can't. It's already, now you're just fighting cancer to be alive. You're not fighting cancer to cure. So that's why I'm telling my friends, don't do like me. Luckily for me, my cancer is still within the organ. It did not metastasize. So I still have a chance of doing radiation and being cured. And I'm younger. And I'm 50. Well, I'm 52. I'm 52 now. I can't believe I'm 52. I was about to say 50, but I'm 52. And I always get the, you're young, you're young, you're young. But it's getting younger and younger and younger with people who are being diagnosed with prostate cancer. So luckily for me, I caught it at the time that I caught it. And then the process of deciding whether or not you want to have it removed, or you going to go through radiation, or you're going to do the seed procedure. So those are three things that you think about, and they all have their thing. When you have your prostate removed, it's not just as simple just having it removed. There's a lot that comes with that. A lot, and it'll be a lot on your partner. If you have a partner, it's going to be a lot. And um, I had to go through trying to make a decision of whether or not I wanted to have it removed or if I wanted radiation. So some people have it removed, but there's like me who have a high Gleason score. My Gleason score is a 9, which a lot of men who don't know, your Gleason score is 2 scores. It's either 3-4, 4-5, 5-4, 3-4, 4-3, something like that, and it determines how large it is and how aggressive it is. So being that mine is a 9, which was a 4-5, which means that it's kind of it's not large, but it can be aggressive for the size that it is. So you want to be in a great score of like 5. You're in a category of 5 because now you're between 15 and 19 when it comes to your PSA readings, and your Gleason score is a 9, which means that you're a very high risk. If you can just go get a PSA reading done, you need to be able to determine by the next year how aggressive it is. How quickly is your PSA rising in order to determine when you should get a prostate exam done, especially if you're younger than 50. So if you're younger than 50, and let's say, for instance, your score was a 7 last year, but now the next year it's growing. It's a 9. It's whatever. You have to do this. You have to do this. But us men, we don't feel anything wrong. We don't see anything wrong. So what do? We just keep on going on with our everyday lives and keep doing the same thing we've always been doing, whatever that day consists of. And then when that time comes, when you start to feel something that's wrong with you, it's already too late. Luckily for me, I didn't even know. I had no idea. I had no symptoms. I had no hip. The symptoms are like, a weak stream and your hips hurting, your lower back hurting, things like that. I didn't have those problems. I always had a lower left back issue at some point, but I did nothing that correlated to that. So I didn't know. And a lot of people, I think a lot of guys don't know, or they have the symptoms and just live with it. They'll just live with it. So those are those factors. We don't see it. It ain't hurting us. And that's that's a main reason why we don't take care of it. And it's procrastination, because you're going to have somebody like I did who was a friend of mine, told me when I was 45, you should get your prostate checked. That's what he said to me. But I'm telling you, the men here that are in here listening, find out what your PSA score is. And it's nothing but a blood test. It's a blood test. Okay? Please. All you men, don't be afraid to do that. It's nothing unmanly about getting a PSA score. And I think that's just becoming of a man to be responsible for his own body. So for all you men, please, 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 if you're between 45 and up, if you have not had a checkup and you don't even know what a PSA score is, please look it up and please get it done. Ask your doctor. If you have a health insurance, please ask your doctor about getting a PSA score reading. Please. Please.
That's important, because I think hearing it come from a man may sound different than it come from a woman saying, men go to the doctor, it may seem like we're nagging. So to actually hear it come from another man who is experiencing this and telling you in advance, like, all you have to do is be proactive about it so that you can, if something is happening, you can get on top of it.
Right. Just to add to something you said, my wife used to ask me about getting a checkup every year. And I was that guy. It was like, I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna call him. I'm gonna call him. I'm gonna get a checkup. Did you get one this year? I was that guy. I was him. And then once I started realizing, okay, everything else on me was fine. Blood sugar was fine. Cholesterol was fine. Everything is normal. Everything was normal. Did not see this coming with this prostate cancer. Okay. Nobody sees it coming. But you'll know once you get checked, but you have to know to ask. Because the doc's going to say to you, "Oh, all your other scores, your sugar levels, blah blah blah." It's going to say da da da, and you're this, and you're good. But he will not mention to you about your PSA score. I had to find out about my PSA score. Well, yeah, some doctors like that, but you got to know what to ask for. I didn't. But when I looked at my when I went to the my portal to look at my results, I was like, "What's that? What's a PSA score? What is that? Was that 7?" And then when I came back, it was 11. He said it's elevated, but he didn't make it an urgency for me to go. And I should have been dealing with this when it got to 9. Matter of fact, even 7, but more so 9, because it kept growing. It kept increasing.
I'm
So
just wondering why I'm just wondering why the doctor never said, "Hey," especially by you being an African American and knowing that African Americans are diagnosed much younger, they die. The mortality rate for us is to the roof when it comes to any type of cancer or diseases. Why the doctor was not concerned to say, even with it being a slightly elevated, let's look into this. Because most of the time we go to the doctor, they know the different screening milestones that we're supposed to do, although we can look it up on the internet. But I'm just wondering why, if it's a little elevated, then why aren't you the doctor concerned and say, "Hey, let's check this out"?
because you'll get the answer of you should get one rather than you need one. See, the should part gives you choice. That gives you the choice whether you want to do it or not. The need is absolute. You need to get a prostate exam. You need to do this. You need to do this instead of you should get one, because the should just makes it just a little bit more, gives you a little more cushion to make an excuse not to do it, to put it off and procrastinate to get it done. And I'm telling you, that's a surefire way to get someone to not do something, is to give them a choice instead of him telling me you need to get a prostate exam done. Like, you really need to get one done, and find out if you have a issue, because you do have a rising PSA. It rises every year, and we need to see where you are with that. When I had a 15, um, I wasn't. Did he tell me this? I'm not sure if he told me. He may have told me, but then the way he told me it was very nonchalantly, almost as if, do it when it's do it when you have time, kind of, in a way, kind of that. And my wife was the one who kept pushing me and say, "Hey, babe, you really need to get a prostate exam. You really need to get a prostate exam." And I was one of the guys like, "Oh no, man, I don't want nobody, poking me, when I was one of them macho guys like, I don't want that." And some guys will, oh, they will. I hate to say it, but they will go to their deathbed without doing a prostate exam because they don't want to be violated in that regard. I've had this conversation
Wow.
with guys looking like this, and I'm like, like I said, I got a friend right now who's like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna take care of it." First of all, you're bigger than me. I'm 298 pounds. This guy's got to be at least what, probably 330 or something like that, and he's boxy, so he's kind of short and boxy. So I'm like, you definitely need to get looked at. You definitely should. You just go. It's not about just having a prostate exam. This is about learning your scores, knowing what your scores are. Whether you do it this year, if it's 11, you need to get checked now. Even at 7, you should get checked now, because when they did my prostate exam, they didn't feel anything. My doc, he didn't feel anything. He didn't feel anything. Normally, if something like that, or if it's to the point where it's before it metastasized, it will be hard. It will, he would immediately feel it. They didn't feel anything on me. So you need to, man, you gotta get your head up on your shoulders, put your nose up high, walk with your chest out, and get this done. I'm telling you, I'm telling you. Do I have any symptoms? Am I tired? No, I'm not tired. I'm the same way I've always been. I don't feel any different. I don't feel any different. I feel like myself. And I told my family, I said, don't call me every day, ask me how I'm doing. I'm okay. Every day, I'll let you know when I'm not okay, but I'm okay. But at least you have a choice to say that, to be able to say that. Some men wait too late. They don't have that choice to say that. I've done the research. I've talked to some men. They didn't have the choice of that, you know. And a lot of men who had prostate cancer will tell you, boy, man, you lucky you caught it early. You lucky you caught it early because it's a whole different ball game when it metastasizes outside of your prostate. It's a whole different type of situation you're dealing with. And you can help it, please. Brothers, please just get a checkup. If you have health insurance, get a checkup and ask to have your PSA scores done. Please. Telling you.
They say that prostate cancer is the second leading cause of death in men. It's after lung cancer.
Hmm?
So
I'll add something to that. It's one of the slowest growing ones too. It's one of the slowest growing cancers. But for us, we think we have time. We always think we have time. I say that every time. Like when someone passes away and you say, man, I thought, man, I was gonna call him 2 weeks ago, man. I was gonna do this. Yeah, we always think we have time until you find out you don't have time. Always.
that's true.
All have time. So for me, dealing with making the decision whether or not I was gonna go to radiation or have it taken out or the seed stem, which is a new process. I still had to make a decision, and it's a scary thing to. I won't say scary, but it's a nerve-wracking thing because you have to make a decision at some point. You don't know how much time you have to make that decision because even though they say for mine it was it's in within the organ, I don't know how much time I have before it's not.
Right.
You have to deal with the burden of making that decision. Once you get to talking to your oncologist, and he's going through everything with you as preparing you for what you need to deal with your results and making that decision and going over those decisions and the side effects of each one. You have to weigh that. It's your body, it's your life. But you'll have family or someone, whether it be your mom, your wife, somebody. Did you make a decision yet? Did you make a decision yet?
Right.
I'm going to make a decision, and everybody's, and I know they're concerned and they're like, we really want you to be healthy. But it's like, I know, but you're not dealing with this personally. I have to. You're dealing with the residuals. I have to be the one that either is going through the radiation treatment or having my prostate removed or the stem thing. It's called a seed. I think it's two stems. I think it's called a seed implant, I believe. So you have to make that decision. And then you're thinking about time. How much time do I have to make this decision? Do I have to make this decision now? Can I make this decision in 2 weeks? Do I have 2 weeks? Do I have a month? How much time do I have? I don't know how much time I have. You don't know. So now you got to make a decision. So like for me personally, and I don't mind to share it because, I had a friend of mine said to me, why aren't you keeping this private? Why are you telling anybody? I said, because prostate cancer is not a secret. It's not a secret. What's the secret about it? What's the secret? So what? So let's say, for instance, because I got to go. So I chose, and it's so funny we're talking about this because I made this decision last Tuesday. I made a decision, and I said, I called my oncologist and I said, I thought about it, and we're gonna go with radiation and hormone treatments. And the reason why that is because even if I had it removed because of my Gleason score and because my PSA is so high it's at 19 right now, I most likely would have to do radiation after having my prostate removed.
Mm.
And it's going to be enough just to have it removed. And then to know that you may have microscopic cancerous cells that may still be in the body, you still may have to do radiation even 6 months after you've done had a prostate removed. So I said, why do all that when I could just go through radiation and do it this way? And for those who don't know, the kind of radiation is acute radiation. It's not like chemo where you're going to be losing your hair up here and all this other stuff. Most of the things that's going to affect you most of the time is probably going to be, from my research and talking to my oncologists, is the effects of the Lupron shot that you have to take, and and some radiation, of course. Some people have no symptoms, some people are just fine. I was told that it may make you tired, but some people don't. Some people don't have side effects. But I know that the hormone shots, what it does with Lupron, you're not taking it every day, but you get a shot every 3 months for 2 years, and it completely stops your testosterone. Like, it shuts it down, because the testosterone is what feeds the cancer cells to spread. So they have to shut it down, and Lupron shuts it all the way down.
Wow.
Yeah, so you will lose. So from what I was told, you will lose muscle mass. You may gain weight. So I think it's like estrogen or something like that. To me, they didn't say it that way, but I figured it was probably testosterone or estrogen. So you're gonna lose something. So you're gonna your testosterone is going to completely stop. So you may lose muscle. I did ask questions. Oh, how do I counteract that? Whether I don't need to grow muscle, I need to maintain. So can I just work out, lose weight, things like that? To do this, yeah, of course. But the funny thing is, they never mentioned to me about, they tell you to lose weight. They don't give you a food regimen. Oh yeah, just go to plant-based and blah, 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 and go. They never say that, because you're doing radiation. I've never heard it once said to me about that. And but one thing that I will have to do is I have to, in order to do radiation, for me, it's 5 days a week for 5 to 6 weeks, Monday through Friday. And you have to drink 16 ounces of water every day.
Wow.
During the process of radiation. So I said that, well, this is a new role, and challenge in life, because now you have to be disciplined to that. So, it's a lot. It sounds like a lot, and it is a lot, but it's now part of your life, and you have to embrace that in order to fight cancer.
Where,
So you
where,
either can listen.
where was your faith during all of this? Like, who was you turning to, praying to help get you through mentally?
How do I say this?
I don't see how
Without being-
people could, for me, I don't see how people could do it without God. So that's why I'm asking.
I didn't pray. I think all I did was, once I found out, and then once I dealt with the reality of it, I think the only thing I believe I said was, okay, God, let's do this. I didn't pray. I just made a deal. Let's do this. If I meet you halfway, meet me halfway. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do, and hope that you will meet me halfway into my fight securing cancer on this body. So I didn't exactly pray, but I just made a deal with him. Let's do this. I'm going to do my part, and I hope that you are able to bless me to be here for the next 5, 10 years, or maybe 15, 16 years after this. Because curing it is the first part of it. It's the survival rate afterwards. Because even with radiation has its side effects for some people. It can, and this is the hard reality of it. I'll tell you what it is. And there's a possibility that 10, 15 years from there, you can have rectal cancer because of the radiation. You could have a intestinal wall cancer, possibly. It's not a super high rate, but I guess 20 to 40% chance of that happening. But I also think that is based on what your health is like. Did you lose weight? Are you eating healthier? Are you eating foods that are cancer fighting, have cancer fighting antibiotics in them, where like soursop or something like that, something that, or asparagus or broccoli, things that have enzymes that help to fight cancer. Are you going about those things? You have to do your research. But as far as praying, that was about as far as I went. That was about as far as I went. Just making a deal, because um, because I had the choice before coming to God. I had the choice to get it done. It's not God's fault.
I think
You have
some
to deal with the responsibility of procrastinating.
I think sometimes we expect God to do everything for us, not knowing that we do have a portion of it that we need to do, and then He's going to do His part. He already know what the end is going to be anyway, but you still need to do your part. You can't just sit there and say, "Okay, God, I need you to remove this cancer. I'm just counting on you to remove it. You don't have to. I don't have to go through this chemo, radiation, or anything. God's going to do it for me." And then some people, you have a small amount of people who do that and they believe that, and some of them don't make it. So you do have to do your part, and he
Yes,
and he will meet you.
absolutely, 100%. I've always believed that. All It's like, God, if I meet you halfway, can you meet me the rest of the way, and I'll keep going. And that was with everything in life, and I'm not kidding. Everything in life, like nothing's going to just be given to you. You can't say, "Oh, I want a job. God, help me get a job," and you go to the door. Who is it? Job. No, it's not like that. You know what I mean? So for me, my energy is different, because it's not the end all be all for me, or for you, or for anyone else that has cancer. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're supposed to go into this slump and you're supposed to be depressed. And when you wake up in the morning, are you able to get up? Are you able to wake up? There's a lot of people who go to sleep and do not have a chance to see another day. So if you're able to get up, wash your face, brush your teeth, take a shower, put lotion on your body, go outside the house, do things, you should not be depressed. You need to deal with this and deal with life, and show that this is not going to be just about cancer. This is my life. I have other things in life that I need to do. I'm a DJ. I'm a DJ. So music brings me life. It brings me love. It brings me happiness, when I do music. So when I get on here, I'm never in a dull moment where I'm sitting going, I'm dealing with blah, 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 blah. No, my my lives are full of energy. I play like that, and I've always been that way. And I'm going to continue. Try to be the same person you've always been. If you're given the life that you have, and given the opportunity to open your eyes and be able to talk, be able to hear, be able to listen, be able to do things on your own, please be yourself. It is something to deal with, and you do have your moments where you're like, man, I have cancer, man. You do have those moments. You do have those moments. You think, man, I have cancer.
Have
You
you
know,
have you had to take a step back from your DJing or your job just to kind of manage your health since being diagnosed?
The only thing that I canceled was the cruise. There was we had a cruise where I was going to be featured as a DJ on the Carnival Mardi Gras 7 day 6 night cruise, and it was going to be a great thing. So we're going to push it back to next year. We're going to push it back to next year because of this. I also had to turn down uh, it's not a once in a lifetime, but I'm sure it'll come back around to me. And it's called the event is called Detti December. Detti December. And they were gonna fly me over to I was gonna represent United States. They were gonna fly me over to do a week in Nigeria, a week in Ghana, and a week in South Africa, DJing. And this and that was like something that I really wanted to do. And I said, I had to weigh that. Like, what if something, what if things go a different path than I don't know? You know, Be diagnosed with cancer, you're like, that's something that I can't play with. So I had to make a decision. So what if I'm away for 3 weeks? What if that's the time I'm supposed to take the Lupron shot? What if I'm scheduled? What if something else comes up that I don't know about? That's a complication. I had to make a decision. So those things are really what drove me to say, okay, I got to step away from this just to be sure and to be careful with my health so that I can be here for the next year
Yes.
and be next year. Oh, thank you, Kenya.
Stuart, can you give some words of wisdom to the men out there when it comes to procrastinating and cancer being their best friend?
Let me just tell you something about life, okay? And this extends to everything. Listen to me. When it comes down to you making a decision about something, okay, and you don't know which way to go, and you procrastinate too long, life has a funny way of making that decision for you, and it ain't never good. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Even if you're right or wrong about the decision you made one, you know. But don't let life with procrastination make that decision for you because you won't see it coming when it's time. You won't see it coming when it's time. And that will go towards anything cancer, relationships, things of that nature, even just relationships. Let's say, for instance, you're in a triangle, you with your old love and your new love, and you messing around, but you don't know which one you want. And so you're sitting there, oh, I want this one, oh, I really like this one. Okay. What happens when that life starts to work and you get caught between the two at the same time? Now you don't have a choice because they're going to make the decision for you. And it's never going to really go in your favor. And you're, oh man, it's the same thing with life. You have to make a decision. You have to make a choice before life makes a choice for you. Okay. And for me, at that time, when I knew or didn't know, I was naive to the point of not knowing whether or not I needed to get a prostate exam done when it was an 11. I made a choice. I didn't make a choice because I put it off. I procrastinated. I procrastinated. I procrastinated. Now I'm at a 15 or 19. I don't have a choice. The choice was made for me. Now I'm at another level of making choices of what's going to happen, when, and where. So make a choice in life with things that you do. Make a choice. You have to give yourself a choice and stand on that choice. Please stand on that choice. Just make a decision. Make a decision because that time will run out because you always think you got time until that time runs out and you don't have a choice. So those are my words of wisdom to the guys out here and people in general. That's
Yes. Thank you so much, Stuart, for sharing your wisdom and your experience about prostate cancer. I appreciate it. I pray that the men and women are listening to this and that they can walk away feeling empowered. And remember, no decision is still a decision. So thank you so much.
You are very welcome. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. You guys, Warriors Talk is always looking for you to share your testimony with us. Just inbox me at warriorstalk1@gmail.com so that you can share your testimony with others. Recognize my sponsor today, who is Gloria Dotson with Mary Kay, and she's catering to all of your beauty needs from head to toe. Warriors Talk is grateful for you tuning in every Monday at 6 p.m. right here on Intellectual Radio. As always, thank you for tuning in to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady ReShell, where we are changing lives one warrior at a time.
Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell. To find out more about Warriors Talk, follow at Warriors Talk, the number 1, on all social media outlets, and Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell on YouTube. Please join us next week and every Monday evening at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time on IntellectualRadio.com for Warriors Talk with Lady ReShell, where we encourage, educate, and empower you into action.